It's a very special book night, another special book night this evening. The title of the book itself is really quite intriguing, Philosophy of Fearism. More than just a book talk, it's actually an author talk, because we have the author here tonight to talk about his experience in writing the book and what the book is about. If you think about it, the concept is really quite simple. The philosophy of Fearism, what we fear, we strive to eliminate. And so much of our consciousness is driven by eliminating fear. So the concept itself makes a lot of sense, but the execution has great complexity. So I'd like to introduce and welcome Mr. Desh Subba. So he will be the speaker this evening, but before we go any further, I'll also introduce the moderator, who is Rai Devraj. Now, Ray is a primary school teacher, and he's also a public relations officer in a school in Yuen Long. He also has his own radio station, which is called HK Nepali Radio, and he has a program on RTHK as well. He also considers himself to be an educational activist. So with that, I'm going to ask Ray to do a proper introduction of Desh and get the ball rolling. Okay, thanks.
Let's welcome Desh Subba. Maybe have a seat first. Is that okay? So, good evening, everybody. My name is Rai Devraj, and I want to have a seat with a relaxed mode, so we can start further ahead. Well, Mr. Desh Subba is a philosopher, novelist, poet. He was born in Nepal. It is called Dharan, the eastern part of Nepal, and currently living with his family in Hong Kong since last 2 decades. Besides this philosophy of Fearism, he has written 4 novels, and he is a well-known writer in Nepali language in Nepal and India. It's my pleasure to be the moderator today and dare to do today. Thank you for coming, everybody. About the Desh Subba, he's the, he's advocating about the philosophy of Fearism. Especially he wants to say that fear carries us forward, not backwards. Fear is the source of all invention. He has actually, South China Morning Post yesterday also mentioned about this one. Today, English is our second language. Also, this is our second language. Our first language is Nepali. So let me go on further ahead, and I have a small introduction and some overview part of this in a slide. So today we come here to see you all. Okay, Desh Subba is a novel. I already mentioned all about this one. So, Fearism is a gift to the world from Nepal. It's a part of overview. Professor Dr. Tanka Prasad Neupane, chairman of Fearism Study Centre, Baicharik Chintan. 2066 Fears means this is the Nepalese date actually. Fearism of Desh Subba has second the foundation of Nepali literature and intellectual world. It has mentioned in Indian Literary Academy winner Arunachal Pradesh, India. Yeah. So Fearism is under the new criticism. Yeah, it has mentioned. Professor Dr. Kavita Lama, head of the Department of Sikkim University, Sikkim, India. Yeah. Fearism is Kavita Lama. After this, Desh Subba and I have put forth the foundation for philosophy and theory of Fearism, to which Subba has done the most systematic work. Dr. Michael Fisher, these are the others come in. Fearism is a new perspective to look at life and the world. Professor Dr. Sanjay Buprethi, Central Department of English at Tribhuvan University. To claim this text as the whole, Dictionary of Fearism cannot be an exaggeration, in my opinion. Dr. Durga Prasad area. So this is the blue ink review. So please welcome Desh Subba. He's here today. So please put your hands together for him. Welcome to listen to him. So Mr. Subba, just go on. So what do you want to say?
Thank you, Mr. Sweta Rai. Thank you, Mr. Peter and Mr. Kelly. Thank you, Arunachal University, because Arunachal University has given me a good chance to speak about my new book, Fearism. This fear word is not invented by myself. This word is starting from very long time, from the primitive times, historical, starting from the civilizations. But what I am doing is what the other people, other writers, philosophers, doing about this one. Before me, I think when I was working in this philosophy, I tried to find how the people were working in the past before me. I tried to find, I searched, I studied some books, but most of the writers, philosophers, they use this word as a negative. Mostly when we read every books, every subject, this fear word is coming. But when we just see the meaning of this word, mostly they were just using it as a negative. But what is the new view I have just given here? I just want to make it positive first, because fear is one of the positive consciousness and very beautiful consciousness as well. If we go back to the human civilization, and civilization is starting from the fear. This is my logic. I don't know we are agree with this or not, but this is a new prospect. So new prospect is very difficult to eat. If they did not have this kind of weapon that time, it was very difficult for them to survive. And survival is the very strong thing from the ancient time to the now. What we are doing today is also for the just survival. Exactly, I am feeling little bit inferiority complex myself, and inferiority and introversion, and it's like some kind of confusion and fear. Exactly not I am feeling this one. This is the human temperament, and most of the people, all we used to feel. Mostly when we are in the students' time, students, I think the participation of students is also many here. So I just want to give some examples and utilizations and how we have to just treat with our fear. According to the words, like I just mentioned before, like introversion, inferiority complex, like this kind of so many, like shy. Because of this, we cannot show our expertise, our talency. And when we cannot show our talency, and we cannot achieve the success in our life. But the terms when we are going to study about the words, these words are the different exactly. But like I said, inferiority complex, how the inferiority complex is built up. What is the meaning? Means always we are feeling, cannot do, I cannot do this work, I cannot write, I cannot speak, and somebody is very smart in writing, suppose, and he cannot speak in front of like a stage here. Because this is also one kind of inferiority complex, and this inferiority complex is just behind the inferiority complex there is a fear. This is my logic.
Okay, Mr. Subba, actually, I just want to.
Should we or not? Any students, please? Because this is controversy in our mind. Can be or cannot be? I said can, but how? This is the question. How? But your mind is also maybe divided. It can or not. But I said, before I go to my this the question I want to ask the audience is that one of the prominent or the famous philosophy of the world is the Marxism. We know that is. But I want to ask this hall and everybody, how many people of this hall is touched with the Marxism, the philosophy? Personally, practical daily life? Anybody? Anybody do you have? Marxism, because this is the one of the biggest and prominent philosophy in the world. But I think in practically, in the daily life, it is very used, and just one of the major sentence of the Marxism is class struggle. And I have been living in Hong Kong around 20 years now, but I never see the class struggle here. This is my experience. Maybe somebody agree with me or not, but I never see the class struggle here. But system of the Hong Kong is very different, what they explain to in the Marxism. But still, the Marxism is one of the biggest philosophy in the world, whereas it is not touched even in this hall. But I want to ask you one more question. Who is not feeling the fear in the life? Anybody? Nobody has a fear here? I think that most of all, either the different kinds of fear we have. But again, the world population is now 6 billion people. All the 6 billion people, except more than 6 billion people, also has a fear. That is living things.
Actually, sorry for interrupt. Audience, you also can make a question for him. If you read his book, you can ask him. If you want to ask him, then you can put up your hands. But before that, I will ask him some more questions. Mr. Subba, I just want to know, you have mentioned new word here, like deep philosophy. What does it mean, actually?
Yeah, I have mentioned in my book, this is also the new terms, deep philosophy. I think most of the professors, I think here maybe so many professors and students as well, who came from the literature of philosophy. Deep philosophy is, I think, the new term I'm just using. Deconstruction is already used by the postmodernisms, but deep philosophy is the new term I use, because in deep philosophy I just explain the meaning versus meaning. Because in the postmodernism, very famous one word is speech versus writing. Mostly all the postmodernism is considered in the speech versus writing. What I'm doing here is meaning versus meaning. What is the meaning of this meaning versus meaning? I want to explain about the world, about existing all the philosophies of the past. Just like I just give to the examples. One of the famous writer in the postmodern is Gayatri Spivak. She's Indian. She's living in the USA and doing the, I think, California, so where she's doing professor. One of her very famous book and logic is, Can Subaltern Speak? This is the very famous book, the Can Subaltern Speak? This subaltern word is very famous from 1982. It is starting from the India, and my marginal people's voices here, marginal and mainstreams, and when they are just the word of the Maoist. He said, power is in the barrel of gun. Everybody, I think, hear this word. It's very famous word in all over the world. Whenever we are just looking this sentence, power is in the barrel of gun. If that barrel has no power to killing the people, then can it dominate or can the power? Means whenever we are just talking about the weapons, atomic bombs, and it is already, the people are just under coming the control. If there is no power, like what is the difference between the barrel of gun and the flower? If you have to know the killing power, the flower and the gun is the same thing in the meaning. But flower cannot control anybody. Similarly, God has no power, no fear to the people, then God also cannot.
Can be a fear pass. Can be a fear pass.
Sorry?
What do you think about that? Is it anybody can be a person of fear?
Oh, you mean that can be reduced to fear?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, this is one of the very good question, and everybody think that fear we never can be reduced or we get right from the fear. But this is the main thing in the fearism. And it depends on, there are so many fears in our life. And one, the word is in the, I said the postmodernism, Jack Derrida has always using the one word, central, the meaning, central meaning. They are using the central meaning. In our terms here, we can say central fear. The central fear means death fear is the major fear in our life. But death fear is also the difference. It is not always coming death fear in our life, sometimes. But I was just want to give some examples of the how can we reduce the fear, can we get right from the fear or not. Suppose somebody has a bank loan from the bank, $100,000, and it makes fear to the person who cannot pay the money back, and is always afraid about that. And we see in the newspapers and some other medias, somebody doing the suicide because of the cannot pay the loan, this money back. This is the fear. So how he has to treat this fear? Now how can he minimize or how he has to be handle this his fear? And when we just go to the Buddhism, and Buddhism, I just borrow some words from the Buddhism as well. And the Buddhism said the sorrow, how can we just be free and get right from the sorrow? He has just given the 3 examples. Mostly the 3 is very common. Suppose when we are walking on the forest somewhere, and suppose tiger is coming. Tiger is the, he said, according to him, is that the sorrow, making the sorrow to him. Tiger is the problem. In other words, we can see the tiger is the problem, or tiger is also the fear. And he said, either we have to face with the tiger, encounter with the tiger, the point, or we have to escape from the tiger, another example, or if we have a power, then tiger just make to the cat. This is mindset, because fear is also the mindset, sorrow is also the mostly coming from mindset. It makes big, if we thinking continuously, anxiety is increasing, then it is going to be very big, and it kills sometimes. It makes some kind of so many fear patient, like a depression, if we go just a depression and schizophrenia, some kind of diseases, all the symbols are the, what is called, symptoms, just go to the fear side. But the whole, after now, medical science is not diagnosis, it is the fear disease, a fear medical, or fear the doctor, it is still not yet, because fear is not looking at the broad sense.
So how can we use this in our practical life?
It is very easy. So far, I'm using myself in some way. I just doing practically in myself. Just like I want to just give the examples to the students here and some of the employees as well. But very good example for the students, I think. The students are sitting at the exam, suppose, and during that time, what happened? The fear size is changed. Because fear size is also just using the first term here. Somebody believe or not, but fear has a size. But I'm not going to the very detailed size. I said maximum, minimum, and the lower. Minimum and the medium size. Suppose the student is sitting in the exam hall and he start to fear. Oh, I cannot do exam. I cannot do so many difficult questions coming. Start to fear from the beginning. Or start from anxiety or anything we can say, worry about that. But the influence, the fear is more practical here. Fear. And when she or he is nervous, then even she knows the answers, but she cannot. Because she already lost the control. Patient, she or he already lost. And we just go to the minimum side. Somebody is sitting in the exam again, and she has no fear about the exam. Is just doing the careless. And she again cannot do the exam. So for the students, they have to just keep the medium size, I said, because we need the fear. Or sometimes fear also doing so many positive works, and we need to keep it. Same, I want to give one example to the most of them, I think, initially is, I think, driving the car, maybe. Whenever we are driving the car, and some car is passing through just beside us, or some the animal, somebody crossing the road, or something happens on the when we're driving time. That time, if we have a more fear, maximum fear, what happens? Because we lose the control, and there is chances to be accident. And if we're doing it again, careless, and just singing and listening and talking to the mobile, and there is also again there is a chances to accident. So we have to just keep the medium-sized fear when we're driving, when we are working, even we are working, doing the business. And the business is also going to have some problem coming, crashes, and they just panic, oh, very big crash is coming. Then you lose the control, you lose the patience, and you also get unsuccessful.
Mr. Subba, you belong to HK ethnic minorities group. If you look at the philosophy of Fearism from the ethnic minority angle, how we look?
This one is identical problem all over the world, and this kind of question is mostly used to ask me from the Northeast India, because when they are doing some program and they just connect to me, and I just call to them and the phone, they ask these questions as well. But the situation of the Northeast India and some other part of the world and the Hong Kong is quite different. We cannot compare what they have. But I just want to give the example of the Northeast India is because there is people are living like Nepalese people or some other migrant people are living from the 300-400 years. But still the local people is not consider them, accept them as they are the citizens, they are the same people like that. And they always have the fear of identical problem. But in comparison with Hong Kong, the ethnic minority are also looking for the identity. And the Hong Kong people who are living here, also they have also the identity, they just want to say it. But both sides, they have a little fear. Okay? But the Hong Kong government so far is looking more to the ethnic minority as possible, try to integrate all of them. And ethnic minority to Hong Kong has not a very big problem like the Northeast India and some of like South America, but more because government is already initiated and try to do their integration work. Then ethnic minority or some other minority communities, they don't feel like we are the minority here, and they feel like we are the integration, we are the part of the Hong Kong. So
you said life is conducted, directed, and controlled by the fear. Can you elaborate on some more?
Oh yes. Suppose somebody is just finished the education, like Master Degree, some other degrees, and he's sitting at home, doing nothing, knowing any jobs, any business, and later he think he's conduct himself because he needs the money, he needs some society, the reputation, some kind of his status he want to build up. So he is start, oh, if I'm not doing my work, then I have to lose the prestige in my community, my society, and I need to eat and the food, some kind of the income I need. This is started because the fear is starting the doing some work. Even in some business or some the employees some are working in some places like sitting. Somebody sitting there like a lazy and doing nothing, and it's slowly fear. Oh, if my boss see me, then he will be fire me. And once the fire is coming in the mind, the employees are losing the job. This fear is very strong fear, and this conduct to him. Oh, I need to do work.
You mentioned about the fear age group in your book. Especially, I read both of these. Very hard to understand somehow. Yeah. But beside this one, you mentioned about the fear age. Can you simplify this one?
Oh yeah, I have mentioned some fear as because the civilization is what we are considered today, civilization and civilization again. This is mostly based on the Marxism. Marxism has the four classes, is already divided. But I think the Fearism, I said in the eye of the fear, is starting from all civilization is not what the Marxism said. Marx said, because he has just only make the four groups, like there is the four. And I say the fear is because starting from the fear, first time we just developed some weapons, and later we just went to the agricultural stage, then the industrial stage, and I just so make a divide it now is virus age as well. I have the one mentioned here because virus is increasing all over the world every time. Sometimes Ebola coming, sometimes SARS coming, sometimes so virus tomorrow is also coming the more. So I just mentioned about the virus as well, and I also mentioned cyber age. I think cyber age is also mentioned here because cyber is very fast going now, and cyber is the main reason now is making us the fear. Like USA has the one the atomic bomb, and he just pressed the button. This is all working by the cyber, and what we are doing is in the fearless last fear is the fearless. How can we be fearless? This is like one kind of utopia because we have some keep the utopia and the philosophy because if there is no utopia, one kind of expectation of our thinking, then how to go? Direction must be need. So when I was reading and writing about this book, and I saw most of the philosophies, they have some utopias because like postmodernism again I go to the Derrida. Derrida has written so many in the beginning when he was young. At that time he's just making so many discussions. The last when he was going to pass, that time he had just made image of the city with the borderless, no border. All the cities, all the refugees, all the migrant people has no limit, no borders. They have to survive, they can be free everywhere. This utopia, and the Marxism said, the socialism last, there is no borders, no police, no country, everything is the same. This is also the utopia. But I said,
Yeah.
You mentioned minimizing fear from maximum to medium. Do you talk about cope? Like, how do you do that?
oh yes, that's a good question I think, and practical as well. The fear is first, source of fear is the mindset because there is external and the internal fear. Sometimes external factor also makes us fear. But mostly the fear is coming to internal source when we're thinking and thinking more. So like I read one book in the story of the Leo Tolstoy, and there is one very long story, I think it's 100 pages, but he said this is a story. But there is one character, and he has some kind of wound here. He just thinks, oh, I have something here. And he's thinking and thinking and thinking, and later he's died because only thinking, oh, like some kind of mark I have here. So I want to just tell you, the proving this character is, sometimes what happened to us, oh, something I lost, or somebody is just chasing me. We think like this. Okay? But nobody chasing exactly. Maybe he's thinking only, the mindset is thinking, oh, I'm suffering from some kind of economic crisis or some family problem. We are just developing in our mind. When the degree of this thinking is going more maximum, then it makes so many kind of side effects, like depression, like I said, some mental problem. And this is only the production of the mindset only. Then, how do we minimize this one is, we have to just reduce, cut it ourselves. Oh, this is nothing. This is nothing. I'm not being followed by anybody. So when you are doing like yourself from the mind, then you can reduce yourself.
Any other?
Well, I want to connect the little bit about the global political issue. So you think that right now, the problem with the US and the Middle East, so is this relation more with the fear or the threat between these two parties? So this is creating more and more problem. So to make a more better relation, so I think how they can use this term of fearism to build a better relation between these two regions.
Thank you, Mr. Rai. I think it's better to mention your name because we are recording this one and then we need to write in the book because we are going to make a book of this program today. Hong Kong University Speech, Philosophy of Fearism. Thank you. This is not the dispute between the two countries only. And this kind of the dispute comes in the individual friends as well. Today A and B are the good friends, tomorrow they became the enemies. Mostly this is happening in our daily life. What is the factor making the break to these two friends? And I think some coming the egos, some coming the jealous, some kinds of suspicious, and some kinds of identity building, the proudness. There's so many factors there. And all of these are, if we little bit minimize, like Peter and me, like we have some problem coming, and oh, Peter is today, he said to me like this, why I have to listen to him? This is coming always like that in the human life. And to just finish our dispute, I said, oh, no, he's a good man. I need to be listening to him. And from my side, if my level is 51 before, we have a 50-50 all, and one person's 51 is going there like ego only, or jealous only, or suspicion only, then automatically problem is created. The Middle East and the USA, they have this kind of the problem as well. Sometimes they have the ego, sometimes they have suspicious, like they killed the Saddam Hussein because of suspicion. I think they had Saddam Hussein has some kind of missiles weapon keeping them, and they suspect and they attack. Later they found nothing. This is the record. I don't know if I'm not wrong. So suspicion is starting, and behind the suspecting is their identity problem is coming. If like China is rising the superpower tomorrow, then what about our position? USA is thinking like this. If Middle East is controlled by the China and Russia, and what happened to our position? How can we take the oil resources and other resources? So they want to protect themselves for the future, and this is the protection is also the indirectly the fear. I think fear, but there is some other problem as well. But to finish the dispute, both sides they have to minimize their ego or the fear. If the fear is they lose, Syria or some other Gulf country is doing nothing, they are doing good. If USA start to think like that positively, and this problem will be solved.
Any other questions you want to make? You can ask.
Don't feel the inferiority complex after before I said. Don't afraid to ask the questions, please. Yeah, please.
I just wanted to ask, what made you write about this book? Why did you think of writing about Fearism?
Oh yes. Sometimes the inventions is not we can achieve when we try, but sometimes it is like automatically it's coming to our life, because so many professors here, sitting here as well, they also try to do something in their life, new achievement they want to do, but still cannot. But somebody is, without doing the effort, they can also get the success. Some kind of new inventions, some kind of new equations they can do. But